I'm here in Costa Mesa, California at the Volcom headquarters. I get the opportunity to go speak to Ryan Immegart, the CMO. Let's go have a chat with him. He's going to show us the HQ, talk about Volcom Entertainment. I'm so stoked. Let's go.
You guys come down from LA?
We were in Fullerton.
Oh, Fullerton.
Yeah, we just did an interview with a buddy of mine named Tosh. He's this like 20-year-old shredder of a drummer that plays with all these pop and rock bands.
We're like deep in the taking over Billabong and Ruka.
Yeah.
And the rest of the Board Riders portfolio has been quite the undertaking.
I'm sure, but so, congrats. Like
thank you.
What an incredible thing to be a part of. How did that happen? Like what was the idea to spark like?
Basically, when Authentic Brands Group bought Volcom in 2019 it was.
Yeah.
We formed Liberated Brands because we were like, hey, they were looking, that's how they take the IP, they license it to someone. If you strip away the Volcom IP, like we were Volcom, like this whole, we were soup to nuts, we could do it all from sourcing to distribution. So instead of just like, okay, well, we're shutting the company down, I guess, it was more of like, hey, we could take the license, how do we do that? So it was a very long process. There was about a 2-year process of Caring, who owned Volcom, who owns like Gucci and Balenciaga, big luxury house. They wanted to basically get back to just focusing on luxury. So they sold Volcom and it just couldn't, they cared about the brand, thankfully. They wanted it to go to someone who, was going to nurture and take care of it.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of looking for the right partner. And then when Authentic Brands Group came in, they're like, oh, these guys could be good. They had done a deal with them prior to this brand called Tree Torn.
Yep.
And so in that process, it sort of happened organically where we formed Liberated Brands basically on the heels of, Caring or of Authentic buying the IP, and then ABG or Authentic just loved us so much because we did such a great job that as they got new brands, the Spider license came up. We took the license for Spider, and then they bought Board Riders. Board Riders is complicated, and it's it's a big web of things. So we were the right fit for Billabong and Ruka.
Cool.
All things considered. And then, Quicksilver went to a different one. Roxy went to a different one, but we still do the direct-to-consumer channel for Quicksilver and Roxy. But we also Liberated Brands just acquired the South Pacific business.
Wow.
So all Board Riders in Australia, New Zealand, Indonesia, and some of the surrounding areas, we bought that whole business. So down there, we have the license for all of the Board Riders brands, as you know, from DC, Element, et cetera. That was right before Christmas. So we've done, we did the other one, first part North America, late September, and then we did this one. So it's been a ton of just drinking from a fire hose,
Totally.
Going into the holidays and all that stuff. So.
Wow.
Anyway, that was the quick story of Liberated Brands, which we'll get in. I'll probably get into a little bit of that once we hit the other stuff.
Cool. That's awesome.
So do you want to start in here?
Yeah. Wherever you want, man. I'll follow you and just walk through the journey.
We were going to talk a little bit about the forming of the label, which I'm going to pull this over here because this sort of like complements that story a little bit. I just got a bunch of crap in here, so sorry the room is a little bit
I was going to say, man, it's a little messy. What's going on?
I know, it's a lot messy.
No, but sort of what my office looks like too. You get the memorabilia. And
it's sort of like home, I'm just gonna like clean it up a little bit,
You need it. It's the inspiration.
Yeah, it's inspiration. This is kind of like what started. I'd say, well, let me take a step back. This is probably what started my career into music because. In 91, when Volcom was founded, I was 14, 15, living in Big Bear. I grew up in Big Bear Lake, snowboarding. Yeah. My mom ran the children's ski school up there. And so I was very, always going to the mountain after school to snowboard. That was ski at the time. Snowboarding wasn't even a thing. And then eventually snowboarding became legal up at the Missoula Resort because you couldn't do it essentially. Yeah. But I was big into skateboarding and was always, backyard, had a backyard ramp. So all people would come over to my backyard and we'd just skate and whatever.
That's sick.
And so when I first met these founders, I was and totally just engaged. I loved everything about it. This guy Marco, he's one of my mentors for sure. ran the Children's Ski School, and that's basically where I met him. And he was good friends with sort of this whole crew. That's him up there too.
Cool.
He used to work in like the Sim Snowboard Factory and was just like in the early days of snowboarding. So he had introduced me to these guys who at the time really didn't, that was before Volcom was even founded. So we just kind of grew a natural relationship.
Yeah.
The founder of Volcom, Richard Wolcott, was worked at Quicksilver at the time, and he sponsored me for snowboarding at Quicksilver when I was really young. So that's how I met him, kind of got inspired by it. And then, you know, fast forward, the label, or the brand started growing pretty quick. And in '93, Volcom put out its first snowboard movie, which was basically the first movie I'd ever been in. I have a little photo right here.
Red, that's you right there?
This is me right here, yeah. Dude, up in Mount Hood.
How old were you right there?
I'd say I was 16.
Holy crap,
16?
Dude. That's awesome.
16 and a half, you know. I graduated in '94, and this came out in '93. And I was like, you know, my birthday was late, so I was 17 when I graduated. Okay. So somewhere around 16-ish, I'd say.
Nice.
But I grew up, these were like, you know, Brian Noguchi was like my friend I grew up with in Big Bear. You know, Jamie Lynn, still super close with him. He's a legend of snowboarding. And just Mike Perillo, this guy I grew up with in Big Bear too, but he's done amazing artwork. This is actually one of his first pieces that he did in '95, but now he does like Travis Rice's, you know, LibTech graphics and real high-end art. He's just incredible what he does now. So anyway, that was sort of the first piece, right? And then, so '93, and I'm like, great, I'm getting into snowboarding, I can do this. Then we did another snowboard movie in '94 called The Garden, which is this film right here. And The Garden was like iconic for its soundtrack. Like back in the day, I have a poster I think downstairs, but it had like Neil Young and like Jimi Hendrix and Pink Floyd, and still today it's like considered one of the most iconic snowboard films.
Yeah.
The 30-year anniversary is this year.
Amazing.
So we have a cool little like you know, tribute to it and little product collection around it. But anyway, that artwork was done by Mike Perillo, the artist, and then also was sort of my kind of chance of like, hey, like, you know, we want you to be like a feature in this film. This is like your moment. And of course, like, I was like, okay, like, let's go. I'm all up for it.
Yeah.
And in the process of being a kid, I was also getting into music. You know, luck would have it, of course, I was just doing my thing. Got hurt. I don't know, it was a mammoth, you know, messed my knee up and was just like super bummed. But that sort of like, it brought me into more of the music world, kind of gave me more ability to focus on the music. So basically through that point, '95 was basically when we started what at the time was Stone Entertainment. So like basically this photo was taken at Bear Mountain in Big Bear at what was the Outlaw Snowboard Park, which is like the first actual snowboard park in the world, really. Like Mike Perillo, again, the guy, the artist, he was the guy that designed the first snowboard park called the Outlaw Snowboard Park. Wow. So like literally the first one in the world. Like I'm not exaggerating. People weren't doing that back then.
Right. And
the guy, John Rice, who's amazing, who's also up at Sierra Tahoe now, really awesome. I think he was the general manager of Bear Mountain at the time. Anyway, he just had the vision and was like so down and like really let Mike create his sort of artwork on the snow. And so this was on the top of this, you know, big kicker, essentially.
Cool.
Like a, you know, big tabletop jump, essentially. And this came from, basically went on a snowboard trip, '93, '94, where we played out in Utah. There was a magazine called Plow, was back in the day, one cool little endemic mag. And there was a bunch of, there was an editorial feature with me and the bass player, Rich, snowboarding, and then also playing a show that we played in this like super cold like tent in the middle of like, I think it was in Park City or something, but man, it was super cold. And so anyway, when that came back, I had a contract, I had photo incentive, and I had about I don't know, a couple grand or something. And I went to Richard Wolcott, the founder of Volcom, and just said, hey, would you want to put I'll put my money in that you owe me, you put some in, and we'll go record a record. I said, we just went and did a demo. It was like, you know, $1,000, like 4 songs, like so quick, we can knock this thing out, like no problem. And he's like, yeah. And so me and the band, we just went straight to like, you know, we were huge punk rock fans. So it was like, you know, where's No Effects recording? Where's Better? Like the bands that were sort of defining our generation. And it was like, oh, West Beach, K, Hollywood. And we just, you know, phone book, like, West Beach, cool, call them. Like, and that's basically how we got a hold of the studio at the time. Sick. Steve Kravac, who produced the first record, he had just finished Dude Ranch from Blink. He was like this Canadian guy, like kind of like just the in-house guy, but like was getting sort of that work. Yeah. And I mean, the studio at the time, it was all analog. We did it all on 2-inch. We rolled in there thinking we knew what the fuck was up. Like, we're killing it. We're like, you know, friggin' teenagers from Big Bear, like we know everything about music production. Solid state, you know, combo amps with a freaking like Squier, you know, like just the worst possible equipment you can have. But we thought we were killing it. And he quickly sort of educated us on what we didn't know, which was awesome. And we had this older drummer. It's pretty crazy. I don't know if it's a story for this podcast. But anyway, the short version of the story is the first night in the studio, we went in, our drummer was like 10, 15 years older than us. We ended up staying in this like dive Hollywood hotel with like hookers and crackheads and stuff. And he had his own problems. He ended up staying up all night with the hookers and crackheads. Oh, man. We ended up staying in our room middle of the night, which we didn't even check into until like 3 a.m. when the cops busted in looking for like some other drug dealer crackhead. And we were just like, what the fuck are we doing? And again, kids from Big Bear thinking like we're killing it. Yeah. And that was the only night we stayed in Hollywood during making this record, which was probably like, I don't know, 7 to 9 days maybe at the time. Oh, wow. So we made the record, was awesome. We learned a lot. We were bummed on our drummer, but he obviously left the band shortly after finishing the record. Yep. And then we got our friend who you know, was his own interesting character. But something about drummers, man, I don't know what it is. Like, we've had a different drummer every record, and every time we've got our best one out. My son's a drummer now. And
so he's playing with you, right?
Yeah, he plays in our bands. And our last drummer, like officially before my son took over, is still one of my best friends, if not, well, he is one of 2, so amazing human. But yeah, we always had like bad luck with drummers for whatever reason, so you know, cute. Interesting that we're having that with this particular conversation. Yeah, for sure. So this was 95. I said, let's start a label, which he agreed. We made the record. We called it Stone Entertainment, and shot this in Big Bear. And then that was basically the start of it. And when it started, it was like Volcom was at sort of, you know, the industry was really taking off, and the brand was in a good spot, and Volcom was really popular in a lot of places. And the fact we were putting music out was pretty unique. There was, you know, Sessions was another brand, like clothing brand / entertainment that was doing cool stuff too. And a lot of props to them because they did some really great stuff, and I definitely was inspired by that. I think they did like some really cool singles and 7 inches, or same thing, but with some pretty established bands, which I always aspired to do too, which was part of like, you know, we nurtured a relationship with Pearl Jam over the years, and Volcom Entertainment ended up doing some bigger, like higher end stuff with some more well-known artists. But anyway, when the label was founded, that was really the beginning of, you know, this chapter. And from there we ended up like doing like, I think from there we signed, the next one was like, it was during the era of like CKY, like when you know, beginning of Jackass, I think, essentially, like, and so Bam used to ride for Volcom, and Bam Majera, and so he was introduced to me from Remy Stratton, which is a, you know, iconic pro skateboard, who is actually, this poster was signed for Remy. This was Remy's poster.
That's crazy.
I said, never thought I would be autographing something for you. You're an inspiring figure. Anyway.
That's awesome.
He later gave it back to me, because we used to like not cut them. This was like a special, like back when you had like registration marks and stuff. Like, see that Credo Chronicles poster right there, which is another like old Volcom poster.
That's awesome.
The founder of Volcom was very like, you know, analog in like a really like purist kind of way. Yeah. It was like, he's always like, you got to keep, you know, ones
Totally.
that are uncut, which is
Yes.
cool now.
Super
Don't know
cool.
about this frame job, but I like the poster.
that's
So anyway,
good.
he was all down with BAM, introduced me to BAM. BAM and I became friends. The guys from CKY were interesting bunch. I haven't
Yes.
quite protected this, but what this says is, we will never ever fuck Lord Immegart / Volcom, and then it's signed by Jess Margera, Chad Ginsberg,
Yep.
and Darren, the original singer. And this was Jess wrote this, the official CKY contract.
Yeah.
So I framed this. It's on the back of something, but now it's all faded and I'm losing it. But anyway, I really
That's
like
amazing.
that, and over the years, it's been really fun to look at that.
That's so cool, man.
So that's the second, that they were really the band that sort of opened up the eyes of like the major labels.
Yes.
And at that point, MCA was, there was a guy at MCA, his name was Rudy Provencio. And Rudy was really like, he was Richard Wolcott's friend, one of the co-founders of Volcom, and was the guy who was helping us with all the soundtracks. So like the Garden soundtrack with Neil Young, and you know, there's a section with Heart of Gold that's like all time, like still like my favorite part of a snowboard movie. And so he was the guy that was like helping us do that stuff, but it was like, hey, can I get a license to make like 1,000 VHS tapes? Oh yeah, sure, like no problem. Not like, you know, in perpetuity, worldwide rights, every single format known to man in the universe and the next, you know, forever. Yeah. So it was super easy.
Yeah.
But he was kind of feeling the momentum and like kind of getting in the mix, and ended up opening the doors to some people at MCA, and we started having conversations, and that was when Volcom Entertainment sort of got its first like label deal.
Yeah.
And that was like a defining moment, because all of a sudden we were like, you know, I had ran what was a mail order catalog out of Volcom's marketing office, which was like down the street from here.
Yeah.
For those first couple years, just like, hey, like it really post the record and the label founding in '95, between there and like late like '99, it was just completely DIY. I mean, we cut and pasted the catalogs.
Yeah.
We freaking dubbed the tapes, like, you know, because we weren't getting a lot of orders.
Yeah.
Oh, there's 2 orders. Cool. Like, put it on the deck to deck. Okay. So, like, seriously, like we were doing that.
I love that.
It was classic. And there was a lot of like, you know, forward tracking and just experimental things going on. So, opening the door to like, wow, major label, like this is a big deal. Cool, CKY.
Yeah.
And that was empowering, because we had a great deal, and they just said, hey, here's XYZ budgets, you can go sign these bands, and we're gonna pretty much pay for everything. You're gonna do all the work and develop them, and you get to keep the, you know, whatever records you guys, masters you create. But if at any point we think they have potential, we're just gonna come in and, you know, we'll buy you out of your existing options or whatever they were. And that was great. And that's when we signed Pepper, and Pepper was a product of that. You know, their first 2 records was really because, what's the guy's name? Gary. Like blanking on the head of A&R there. He was the guy though. He was super awesome. So, Gary Ashley, maybe that's it. You know, I'll have to fact check that one.
Yeah.
But anyway, we were able to sign Pepper. And really for us at Volcom at the time, it was great because we didn't have to put the capital out. Me, who was still pretty young and in a band trying to like do my own thing, was like getting a good taste of like how it is to, you know, be on that side. And luckily at that point there was someone, his name was Mike Nebrega, who's an awesome human, and someone who was the general manager of Volcom Entertainment for many years when I was basically like a kid doing stupid shit. And he came from MCA at the time, and sort of like, you know, Rudy kind of connected those dots. So I was able to like, and he was like a true music industry, like he was the stereotypical but like awesome, and I don't mean that in like a bad way. He was freaking awesome. He still is awesome. But now he is a contractor. So he's decided to move on. But after many, many years, I mean, the guy ran Volcom Entertainment with me for a decade probably, and drove from, you know, Hollywood every day down to Orange County, which nobody does.
Yeah. That's insane.
So it was pretty interesting, but
that's crazy.
He was great. I learned a ton from him, and we were able to sign bands, put out, you know, great records, and we'll take a little tour, and you'll never notice it now, but like we recorded Pepper's Conatown record in this building.
Really?
Because when we finally did the last, once we did the major label deal thing, we basically put out like, we started making better records, but we were always trying to be DIY because it's sort of like our nature. And so instead of like going back to West Beach, where like it was in the age of like Pro Tools starting, we're like, we'll just go, go somewhere with analog, good room, 2-inch. We'll freaking lay the drums down and then we'll put it all in Pro Tools and we'll come here and finish everything, right?
Yeah,
it was like the thing. And so that's what we did. And we did that for theLINE's last record, Monsters We Breed. And then we did that for Pepper's first record, Conatown, which is still, for Volcom Entertainment, the most successful record, Which, by the way, Isad Williams was like, what's up with the SJC event? Like, I'm coming, what time?
I'm stoked, dude. I sent him a message on the Instagram post. I saw he commented something. I was like, you gotta roll by. He's like, I'm coming.
Yeah, he was psyched. He was psyched to
awesome.
come. So yeah, those guys are freaking amazing. Such good humans. This was like
so cool.
This was the first. Oh yeah, here's some more Volcom Entertainment memorabilia. So this was like in that same era with CKY.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think we probably sold the tickets for that show like you used to have to do it.
Yeah.
Whiskey, pay to play vibes. This was the original like hand-painted cover art of Pepper's Conatown.
Cool.
By Ben Bruff, who was a Volcom pro surfer in his day, still a good friend, and great artist.
Yeah.
And grew up with those guys on the Big Island.
Crazy.
So I like to keep, just a little vintage, vintage vibes around.
Inspiring.
Yeah. So
you went for it. You were in a band and getting signed at such a young age to ride for Volcom and have your photo there, right? I'm sure that played such a big part of you doing the label. Like you just go for it. This is really obviously you had people that came in, whether they were a mentor or just a guide. You just go for it to create something out of passion.
Absolutely.
It's so inspiring.
I mean, I was thinking about things I wanted to share, and honestly, if it wasn't for my passion for snowboarding, which parlayed right into my passion for music, it was the same. I remember because it was like, oh, I can do all the same things that I could do snowboarding, which was like, I wanted to travel. I wanted to hang out with my friends. I wanted to meet girls. I wanted to those were the things I was into as a young kid. And I was like, oh, I could do all that and play music and not hurt myself. Like, that sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But then I have to deal with other people. So there's like a give and take, which was, hey, I have no complaints. I'm so grateful. And, worked hard, but also, have met a lot of great people on the way, and I owe a lot of it to, friggin' my partners here, from the guy Todd Heimel, who's been a huge mentor and someone who's sort of taken me to like the next level, and to my early days with Richard Wolcott, and Marco on the, growing up. It's just like I've had a lot of great people to help, influence me, and I'm really grateful for that. But from there, like we did, so like the MCA thing was great. And during that time, we did a ton of, here, I got it over here. We did a ton of Warped Tours. You remember that.
I remember that
You remember
very
the
well.
Warped Tour.
I remember you guys the vibe of the Volcom Entertainment thing. For me on the East Coast,
what am I looking for?
Not being out here, like watching what you guys would do on like marketing efforts, and just the vibe of everything was just always so fun.
I have something
inspiring
here that I want to share. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. This bad boy. Oh yeah,
this bad boy.
Okay,
look at this thing.
Let's make a little section over here. Just we'll clear the arena. Take a drink. So so we made this scrapbook. So this was like, whatever. Attention Volcomites. We have Volcom are proud to announce Volcom Stone's Garage Rock Entourage Summer of 1999 Warped Tour. Plan is to spread the Volcom word across America via the newly purchased Volcom Entertainment artillery vehicle, which lasted like 1 or 2 stops. At each venue, the artillery vehicle will post up in the camp where theLINE and many other Volcom Entertainment bands will display their musical chops. Free goodies will be flowing, and the Volcom skaters will be ruling the vert ramp. Below is a Warped Tour venue checklist, so you can come, blah, blah, blah. So this was like, whatever, the original routing, so to speak. and this was sort of like our art direction and all that. And then throughout the show or whatever, so like this was the actual like floor plan that I like designed with my sweet PowerPoint skills at the time. Or no, Cork. I did this in Cork.
That's impressive. Dude, in '99.
I also did all of I learned with art director. I did all the packaging for the bands.
Sick.
Just using with this guy Ethan Anderson, who's amazing, our former creative director. So this diesel coach, right, was like had all of the whatever trailer. We built this stage, the full DIY vibe. Oh, we're gonna sell some merch over here. Video viewing area, like that ever happened. So this was basically what it ended up being, like this sweet coach, which again, the windshield like fell out. It started in Texas. This was the first show.
Yeah.
Coming back, and the second one was, or the second or the third was in San Diego. And like coming back, like the window of the bus just like cracked and like dropped like an inch. The front window, like the windshield.
Right.
So we like got out, duct taped it on there, thinking we're killing it. And then that weekend we missed the show, but then like, this was classic, me and the founder Volcom, Richard, and his dad, who was really like the guy. Like his dad was like, Rene was his name, he was kind of gnarly, but really smart dude. And he was like, we're just gonna go buy it. I'm like, we gotta go, like the tour doesn't stop. Like I either get a new RV or like we're not going.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, so we went to like Mike Thompson RV right off the 405, like right here in Fountain Valley. And just one afternoon, and it was on the off day because we missed the show in San Diego because I'm like, I got no bus. Like we can't do it without the bus. Like this is the deal, you know? So, because we had like these tents, like see how the stage, we like built these little wood, they're just plywood like things, and these were 4x8 sheets, and we would take the stage apart with all these little stands, we'd load it into the trailer every day, all this PA, all that, and we were self-sufficient. We could roll into like a Kmart parking lot and pop that thing up.
6x10 trailer?
It was, well, yeah, that's what it says. Yeah, I guess. Probably, I don't think it was any bigger than that. But yeah, it was a Tetris. It was full Tetris.
Dude.
So anyway, we went in, we bought this RV, like, oh yeah, see, that's sort of like, that's like before all the glitz and glamour.
The glitz, yeah.
But no, we went and bought this RV, like day, boom, like, oh, like have Ryan drive it. And I'm like, okay, like driving this thing. And, I'm like, I don't know, 21 maybe? Yeah. Like I'm pretty young. Like I don't have a lot of experience. Like I've traveled a lot. I've had like, street experience, I guess, because I had traveled a lot snowboarding with the founder. But his dad was like, you're just gonna like buy this however much it was, brand new Bounder right off the lot and like 100 miles and just give it to these kids to go take it across country. And he's like, yeah.
Wow.
And his dad's like, okay, well,
that's insane.
But that's literally what happened. So then we went out and we just kept cruising. And this book sort of just like, I don't know, it's just a freaking scrapbook. But over the course of this trip, this was when we really sort of cut our teeth on the Warped Tour.
Yeah.
And, we had a lot of great bands. Bueno was amazing. This is where we met this band Vox, who was basically like, sort of like the timeline happened is that from that moment till like the next couple years, MCA then went bankrupt and got basically, I don't know exactly what happened, I can't remember. Yeah. They basically went under.
Yep.
And in that, Warner Music Group was starting to like develop basically like sort of these incubator labels, right? Yep. And they had a group called East West, what Fred Feldman ran up from Triple Crown, and huge fan of a lot of stuff that Fred's done over the years, and his wife's awesome as well. And they introduced us to like this whole new world at Warner, and like then it's like went from like LA to like New York, and we was going to New York and meeting sort of a whole different sort of level of the music industry. But it was a very similar, I think it was a similar setup. I mean, it's what you'd expect, stinky dudes in a friggin'...
Just gonna say you probably didn't sleep a lot.
No, stinky dudes everywhere and just partying. So, oh yeah, there's a photo on there. But anyway, like, so I'd met Fred and we started to, basically put another deal together. And at that point, we were, doing a very similar thing. We were in MCA, but we started to sign, more bands. And, like most labels, you have to sort of throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and hope that something sticks.
Yep.
CKY ended up going on to Atlantic. There was a band, Pepper ended up doing, I want to say they did a record with Atlantic too, maybe, but they kind of liked us.
Yeah.
There was a band called Vox, which is still one of my favorite bands of all times, that we have 2 records with, and then they went on and did a major label record with Atlantic, and they put a single out. It was incredible, and unfortunately the band, like some bands, they just sort of doesn't happen.
Fizzle out.
But I still have here, I gotta show you, because I mean, this is the moment, right? I should show it. This was the very first, this was the first Vox buyout amount.
Look at that, dude.
So I was like, paid on behalf of Atlantic Records Corporation, whatever, 04, January. Oh, it's almost the anniversary.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
I guess I missed it. But 85,000.
Dude, that's 20 years.
Yeah. It's been a 20 years since. And I'll never forget, Mike Nebrega was like, oh, we gotta frame that check. And I'm like, nah, that's stupid. But here we are.
Definitely do, dude.
Yeah.
That's today.
Yeah.
No, that is today.
Is it really?
Years. Yeah, dude.
Oh, well, there you go. So fucking, it was meant to be.
Yeah, 20 years.
20 year anniversary, unplanned.
That is so cool.
So yeah, that was just a cool moment, and something that will I don't know, as someone who signed bands and tried to artist develop. Yes. That was a fucking cool moment.
Massive moment.
So
wow. Holy moly, dude. Look at that thing.
Check out these sweet, it's wood edges.
That's insane.
Little blowout here.
How old were you when you had that?
This, I was 12. Wow. I had to go on layaway to buy this at Goldsmiths. Wow. Still around, Goldsmiths, Rootsy, Big Bear shop. My mom was like, no, I'm not gonna get it for you, but I'm like, no, we're getting it. And so we put it on layaway and just worked our way, waited for that bad boy just to pay it off.
How much was it back then?
Oh, it was still $450 or something.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot for the time. Totally. And then my first shop sponsor was In Flight, and then Quicksilver.
Wow.
So, and then I went on to Nitro, which I then decided to, I don't know why I did that, but
that's awesome.
Put the sticker on,
Heck yeah.
So anyway.
Cool.
So I'll show you this building. This building is pretty special. It's the original building. It used to be Quicksilver.
Okay.
So back in the early 90s, it was Quicksilver. So there was a lot of the whole machine was here. So that's when I met the founder of Volcom.
Yeah.
He worked here. I'll show you sort of where we originally met and sort of a fun little story there. But anyway, this little poster lineup's kind of nice because, side note, but we did a creative music and art space out in Austin. Yep. Unfortunately, it closed post-COVID. But this was just sort of a bunch of different shows we did, stuff from Run the Jewels, stuff from different artists from all different walks of life. Stuff with Eric Roper and some bigger sort of Thomas Hooper, some bigger artists. So rad. Volcom's always, I think, even though sort of started early with Warped Tour and some of the things we were talking about earlier, it's continued just different shapes. So the cool thing I will say about this upper area, I'll give you a little history vibe real fast. This was. There's so many amazing people that work at Volcom that were part of Volcom Entertainment in the early days.
Yep.
One of them is it's confidential, but it won't be by the time this comes out. Our new global creative director, his name is Patrick Carey.
Yeah.
He's in a band called Limbeck.
Yeah.
Limbeck's done a lot of amazing albums over the years and toured a bunch, and I think they even may have been on Warped Tour for a couple years here and there. But Patrick's awesome, super talented musician. Reed Sheldon, who's our global head of digital at Volcom, well, actually all of Liberated Brands now, he worked for me at the label. So he was, back in the early days, music streaming was just starting, and he taught me a lot about just, he was sort of like DIY by nature.
Yep.
but he just was one of those guys that just learned really fast and took the time to learn. And I'd say like any aspiring musician or anyone who wants to be in music or be in, you know, whatever, marketing or brand development, it's like, if you got that drive and you know, you're willing to put the time in, there are so many examples of people that have been successful. And like just in this company alone, like pretty much all of my senior people that work for me, I'm the chief marketing officer now, and we're $1 billion plus in revenue. None of them maybe went to, you know, they went to college, but it wasn't, they really was about passion. 100%. It was about putting in the time. And just like learning to play drums. Like the drums is probably the hardest, one of the hardest instruments, I think, personally. I play guitar, suck at drums. My son is 23, he plays drums amazing in this band called Ruby Haunt, which is a very actually awesome band. Not awesome, they're an awesome band. Not the type of music that I would originally think he would play, but they're amazing. I think they have like 500,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. They're no joke. They're like a
that's awesome.
Proper band. Like
amazing.
Kill for 500,000 listeners on Spotify. Yeah. My son-in-law, who's also plays in theLINE with me, is also in Ruby Haunt with them, and he also plays with Mike Ness's son, Julian Ness. They're going out with Bad Religion and Social Distortion. It's
amazing.
Like his first real tour. It's like a month and a half. Like van style. Like
amazing.
So I can't wait for that to go. And just to, you know, him and my daughter just got married about in September or mid-September or so. So and we've done a couple little like week-long runs, just like, and he's been touring. They just went to Europe with Ruby Haunt and other things, but it's just so fun to like, see that next generation. You know,
I love that.
I'll show you in the back.
Is he coming? Is your son going to come to the event on Friday?
Yeah, I hope so.
Dude, I mean,
awesome.
I'd love to meet him.
I would love to introduce you to him. He's amazing. This is Kurt Minez, who Kurt's works. He's also worked for me at the label for at least probably, I mean, back in the day. Like he started as an intern and then he worked his way up and then in and out. He is incredible. He's such a good person. Super tapped in. He's like the secret weapon. The guy is just an encyclopedia of music, like just fun facts. And he was in his married to Jennifer Rama, who was in Royal Trucks, who's like obviously one of the like kind of like an original like kind of indie, just God, you know, whatever you want to call him, like pretty influential band.
Amazing. I didn't know that about
he showed Jennifer Royal Trucks, and then they did Black Bananas. They did RTX. Kurt's really like he does all our music licensing for Liberated brands. So from Volcom to Billabong to he's in the mix. Wow. And then also like really curates the relationships with a lot of our artists that we work with. Especially Run the Jewels. And he's just like a gearhead too. Like he's like, we got a little spot over here I'll show you. That's as we were like when COVID hit, we were very like, well, what do we do? Like how do we do things? you know, like anything. And so Kurt was on the Twitch tip. And so he basically was like, we're going to go on Twitch. We're going to like show, we're going to show old Volcom Entertainment stuff. Like there's a music video from back in the day.
That's so sick.
99.
Yeah.
So it's one of our only music videos maybe.
Cool.
Oh, it was from Warped Tour. There you go.
Did you sell those on the Warped Tour?
Yeah, we sold these and
passed them out.
It's called We Will Speak to You. Gave them away. That's probably.
So cool.
I got a digital copy. I'll give you if you want to check it out. Or lace it into this thing. So anyway, we'll do Twitch streams here. This is like, well, we got drums here too. What brand is this?
What brand is that?
Yeah.
Get them out of here.
What's going on here?
Get those out of here, man.
But this room is always fun because this is like basically the archive room. So like all the like original print media of like Volcom and action sports in the time of the early to mid to late 90s sort of got cataloged in here. Some of it's more organized than others. But I love coming in here and just like, this magazine was this was March '95, but this was the first magazine that, it's not this issue probably, but this was the first magazine that I had gotten a little feature in. And it's sort of like Oh, whatever. That's a Volcom ad.
Yeah. Awesome.
But it was very influential in the zone. And
who
really,
kept all this stuff? Was it you? Was it just a team effort of just
definitely wasn't
sure?
me. I contributed, but it was mostly just the marketing team. I mean,
Yeah.
Ethan Anderson, and Richard, the founder, and Troy Eckert. So all this stuff, now is like a server.
Right. Yep.
But we got like
cool,
these
though.
flat files are full of like original, Volcom art and all hand done stuff. And
Wow.
I don't know, there's red batteries hanging out here. I don't know what for, but we actually do little social content with this bad boy.
Cool.
The one thing I'll say though, if you've never seen the art on skateboard bag from this era, it's kind of sick.
Yeah, it's so sick.
Fucking,
I remember these.
yeah.
Dude.
You had to collect them all just to see what it was.
See, yeah.
Like this was all like some of the early, like this movie, Freestyle Swing, which was me and some other people. CKY.
Wow.
What we were talking about earlier was CKY. Like these are the movies that really like inspired Jackass.
For sure.
And really, I think the band had a lot to do with it, if not most to
For
do
sure.
with
I
it.
remember
Like,
watching this in my basement with my buddies.
yeah, like getting that thing going. So
Yeah.
good stuff in there.
Awesome.
Okay, let's jam over here, and just tell me if we need to like whatever. I'm just going.
Dude, no, you tell
right.
me,
All
man.
right.
I love
Okay.
this.
So this was the originally this was the record label in the, I guess, whatever you want to say, like early 2000s. And I would blast shit here fucking all the time, and he would be like, I'm on a phone, and it was awesome. And then the rest of the Volcom Entertainment team sat in here. Don't worry, buddy. Hi.
Hi.
So yeah, Reed, Kurt, all the guys I was telling you about. So this was basically the record label hub. But the awesome part about this, for me personally, is that when I was 15, when I had met, so Richard Wolcott founded Volcom, sponsored me at Quicksilver, said, hey, come down, do your first walkthrough, which basically was like, come to Quicksilver, you can come get all, a bunch of free clothes. And I was like, fuck, that's awesome. So my mom let me come down the hill with Marco Hendrickson, the guy I was telling you about, and he took me here, and I met Richard Wolcott right at the top of these stairs, and he was like, hey, come over, and I forget what he called it, come over into our our whatever lounge and sign the wall. And I said, oh, okay, cool. So he brought me literally into this space. It was, I think that, I don't know, I want to say the couch was like right here or something. And this whole wall right here had just been signed by like all the iconic like Quicksilver people that came through.
Yeah.
From team riders to like people like me who no one gives a shit. I came in, I got to sign this wall. And again, I was, 15 years old at the time. Didn't really think much of it. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And he takes me to the back, and I, get to get my clothes and everything. And then, lo and behold, whatever, decade plus later, this is now the home of Volcom Entertainment.
Crazy.
And I'm I used to sit out here, and then I moved in there, and this was all like chain link fence back in the day. And I got like photos and stuff if you want to like
I would love any kind of
slice that stuff in.
Totally. Any BTS.
So this was
stuff.
So this was like, it was pretty cool to just like have that moment. This was I mean, it's nothing fancy. This was the where we shipped a lot of the records out of at the time.
Cool.
Because we kept it out of the the main warehouse.
Yeah.
We wanted to go fast.
That's crazy.
All right,
man.
so that's that. And then I got a couple other hot spots to show you. That's our global head of product for men's. All right, so let me show you where we did the Pepper record and the Line record, which is not that awesome now. But I will before we go there. So this was, oh gosh, I want to say late 90s. So this was our first marketing hub. So this was for a Rolling Stone shoot. This photo appeared in Rolling Stone, I want to say early 2000s. And this was Richard Wolcott, this is one of the co-founders. This was his other co-founder, Tucker Hall, Ethan Anderson, the creative director, Terry Hawkinson, like probably one of the most iconic snowboarders, Troy Eckert, the VP of marketing at the time, or the head of marketing. And then this was Donald Horn, who's my best friend and one of the guys in the line. He's got a Rolling Rock hat. These are the amps that we had bought at the time when we like formed the band, which we still have today, which look way cooler than they did then, all new.
Yeah.
But this room was amazing because this was in the back of like the art department. And we would just, this was all real shit. Like we were, this was sort of posed, but he's doing 4-track, mixing his record, even though he really wasn't. Richard was playing drums, definitely like, big fan. And that was really, even today, like Tucker, these are the two co-founders of Volcom.
Yeah.
I mean, this was their natural habitat.
Right.
They were very like, it just came out naturally, and it was just super fun to have this space because you could kind of like do whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
And we have somewhat of a space like that, but times change.
Yep.
But that was a really fun shoot.
Wow.
This was, so we were upstairs, right? We were talking about the
garden.
The garden, right?
Yep.
So I thought this shot would be nice because that was the arc by Mike Perillo. This was 1994. This was sort of when, things were heating up. Obviously, I was in this film. You can tell Deep Purple, Jane's Addiction, Neil Young, Primus, Helmet. I mean, this was a intense soundtrack. And this film was pretty freaking amazing. So
crazy.
Anyway, wanted to show that.
Super cool.
But filmmaking is, similar to making music. It's always been a huge part of Volcom's DNA and the Volcom Entertainment and myself. So
very
good
cool
stuff.
Awesome.
This was one other one we'll show. This was the first time that we had basically made a movie. This was a surf movie called Creepy Fingers, where we had made a movie, and then basically we did a specific soundtrack that was mixed and mastered by me, plus featured only bands that we worked with and artists that we worked with. So at the time, Goons of Doom, Aussie Rights Brand, Pro Surfer, Single Frame, which is still one of my favorite, just experimental, like still this day. I mean, you can check them out; they're amazing. Valiant Thor, Brain Squeegee, ASG. They were a great band that we still work with. That's still putting out awesome records. As Valiant Thor too. And then Gavin, one of our surfers, who's an incredible guitar player. Like blow your mind. He's insane. So
we live near the ASG Valiant Thor guys.
Oh yeah,
North Carolina.
So North Carolina, Well, that was
So
interesting because it happened to be with Warped Tour, right? Like, because basically Mark Gardner, Mike Nebrega, guys who worked. Oh, that's Ozzy from another Volcom. So, but they were like, that's how we found bands. Yeah. Right. We were on Warped Tour. We were like, oh, like this person's awesome. Yeah. Oh, Jenna Lank, please.
Oh, hi.
Please, come on over. These two. These are my friends.
Hi.
This is Jenna. It's our global head of women's products. Awesome. This is Mike from
Nice to
SJC
meet
Drums.
you.
This is Lank, we call him.
Nice to meet you.
So we're doing a big event here on Friday in the back.
Yep.
It's going to be featuring some amazing SJC drummers. They're the band Roué that we work with.
Yeah.
They did a custom kit. So
Awesome.
A really cool custom kit.
it's going to be sweet. So
Good.
grab the kids.
We'll be there.
Taco
Friday.
truck.
Awesome.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
to meet
Nice to
you.
meet you. Have a nice night.
And then jumping around in the timeline, but basically as like we were putting out a lot of full lengths, we were also like, how do we evolve into doing more like singles? And so we started a Volcom Entertainment Vinyl Club, which was sort of like, as the label, we started, winding down, I'd say, as the music industry was changing, right? 2008, a lot of different things going on in the economy, blah, blah, blah. And so we were like, this maybe isn't the priority for Volcom, but we still want to be involved. Like, how do we stay in the mix? And so, 2010 and 11, we started putting out the singles, this Vinyl Club, and we did it for many years. I want to say 3 years maybe, but worked with all kinds of different bands from, Turbo Negro to Witch, High on Fire, The Sword, St. Vitus, Melvins, Film, Dave Lombardo from Slayer. This was Kurtz from who still works for us here at Volcom, and RTX.
Crazy.
Tweakbird, which is a band we signed that I absolutely still love to this day. Best Coast. Useless Eater, which you may know of now, is what's the? I'm like blanking on his name. The guy who covers his face, cowboy, inspired. What the fuck is his name? He is you don't ever see him. He's like the gay. He's gay, but he's fucking awesome.
Oh yeah, dude.
What the fuck's his name?
What is his name?
You know what I'm talking about?
I do know
what
what
the
you're
fuck?
talking about. Yeah.
This was his original.
No
this was
way.
before he did that.
What year was that?
Fucking 2011 or something like that.
Wow. Yes, I know exactly. What you're
God
talking
damn it! Now I'm pissed off. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Anyway, awesome to work with him. Fucking HR. Jeff the Brotherhood. Wino. Scott Kelly. More Jeff the Brotherhood. This was Jamie Lynn's brand, so we would always try to find athletes that were also obviously, which wasn't really hard to do at the time.
Right.
Premonition 13. Cerebral Palsy, they were sick.
Yeah.
Andrew WK.
Wow. Yeah.
Who else is awesome in here? That's ASG and Karma to Burn, which Karma to Burn guy was also in Year Long Disaster. Ancestors, Black Bananas. Anyway, that was just a sampling, but there was a lot of great bands, and every record was different, and
What's
it was
his
all.
name now? Peck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice job, Nancy. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
You can sleep now.
I know. I'll be okay. Okay. This is worth taking a spin down if I can get these lights to come on. All right, maybe that's as good as it's gonna get. But back in as we were building the label, right, following our passion, doing our thing, we would always do a ton of different tours. And this was '98 with my band theLINE. This was the Midwest Skate Tornado.
Yep.
And so we would just go hit shops, hit skate parks, do our thing. But a lot of the Warped Tour, I think the essence of what we did on the Warped Tour was sort of developed through some of these things. So this was like the We Will Speak to You tour in 2000, which was sort of on the heels of Warped Tour after we started getting into it.
Yep.
But it was, we would bring the skate team. We had CKY playing. Volcom Entertainment was involved, and so we would just sort of take that formula and replicate it. Replicate it wherever we could and wherever it made sense.
Yep.
This was we saw the 1999 Warped Tour. This was 2000.
Yep.
So we did this Warped Tour takeover theme in 2000, and this was our, everyone wanted a muscle shirt back then.
Yeah, dude.
Especially Inside Out, right? And then what was this? 2000. This was 2002. This was for Nose About to Rock. We had a little bit of a Circle Jerks inspiration on that one.
Yep.
But we were playing Pepper, Arkham, Pace of the Park, a couple bands that were still cruising. This was a Live We Ride, the film we talked about, first one, 93.
Cool.
And there were other things at that time, you didn't have, you didn't have to worry about clearing stuff.
Right.
The general counsel wasn't too concerned about Bill Clinton or Sid Vicious on a T-shirt,
Right.
Like they are now.
Yep.
But definitely. And then this was when theLINE did its first record in '95. We still Stone Entertainment. We obviously put some merch out. So this is actually an original merch piece from that.
Cool.
And then the very first ever Volcom event was at this place called, basically down the road, called the Roadhouse.
Yep.
This basically is where Tiki Bar is now.
Yeah. Yep.
And so you had Shrinky Dinks, which became Sugar Ray.
Yep.
And then you had, I don't know who else, I can't remember, but a couple openers.
So cool.
Obviously Madonna, which wouldn't work these days, but Pink is Punk, that was a pretty fun moment. This team fucking rocks all the time.
Yeah.
So they'll come in here, they're talking inspiration. I mean, this is in the middle of the design department for Volcom. The designers come in, they talk about what's going on. They fucking break out the amp, which they take with them, but they play the drums.
Yeah.
They get loud, they take some shots, and they look at vintage clothes, and that's just sort of what we do.
That's so cool.
So, not many people come in here, but you guys get to, because this is where we keep the secrets.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, I mean, this is, I'm not even kidding, this is inspiring. I don't know if we would want to upgrade it, but I mean, that's cool as hell.
You might want to, I mean, there's the other kid upstairs, I don't know. We'll go look at more drum sets.
We'll see Jax's kit on Friday and see if it sparks any
Jax's kit's pretty sick.
It's going to be cool.
I saw the photos of it. And
I can't wait to surprise him with that.
Yeah.
You want us to close that door?
Yeah, just close it on your way out.
That's really cool.
Fine.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you'll be good.
I'd like to hear the beats that they rip on that kid during the
Oh yeah, yeah.
meetings.
I'll just DM me. I'll show you some shit.
Cool.
I'll link you into the handles to follow.
All right, cool. Yeah, I love it.
It's you know, it's, you want it in small doses.
So cool.
You don't need to like spend an hour.
Yeah.
So yeah, more of the product team here. Wow. And then again, oh yeah, another movie poster back from, you know, Vico Productions. This is our film production at Volcom Ent. So this was Ozzy Wright, but you know, CKY, theLINE, Hovercraft.
Yeah.
That was you know, Beth from Eddie Vedder's former ex-wife's band. Inbred Jed, they were sick. This band 400 Blows. 2-piece, just like, I know. It's like, you need a bass guitar. I was like, no, we don't. Okay. This is the founder of Volcom, Richard Wolcott.
Yep.
And Tucker Hall, co-founders. And then this is me. I was 15 here.
Dude.
This was outside Seattle at a place called Day in the Dirt. And it was Mike Rankwit. It was his like family farm and his vert ramp. This is Mike Prillo, the artist I was telling you about. Did the garden art and all that. And so this was my kind of first out of town Volcom road trip, like really charging with the crew. And this was amazing. Like so much, like it's where Eddie Vedder came and did a Rock the Vote commercial, like with this huge cherry picker before drones. You know, everybody was obviously like getting pretty loose, but it was such a fun moment and such a defining thing that really helped kind of inspire me for you know, my career and what I wanted to do with my life. But that's where I saw like Mudhoney for the first time, like playing naked, like on the frickin' ground, you know, on acid most likely, and just like having one of those times. And then Beth, you know, played, Hovercraft played. It was fucking sick. Oh, I forgot to show you where we did the Pepper record, but we can, maybe we can hit it on the way back. And the Line record, but I'll show you an unimpressive. I got a couple spots to show you. We'll see. This is all studio, so because we're growing and busting at the seams, we don't have a lot of room. So this will eventually be a new studio. This room and that room and this whole thing. What's up?
What up, dog?
What you doing? No, you're good. Rock it, dude. What are you doing?
A whole bunch of retail shit.
This is Alex.
Yeah.
What's up, dude?
Doing?
All right.
Keeping the IT team, keeping our systems intact, aren't you?
Trying to.
All right, good. Are you coming on Friday?
Whatever it is, I am.
Okay, SJC.
Sweet.
Drums, Roué, taco truck, 5 p.m.
You'll be here.
See you there.
Okay, so we'll hit this little zone. I'll show you. See what's going on in here. So this is where this is gonna be Saturday or Friday.
Friday, yeah.
Sorry, can't keep track of the days. What's up? Okay. So the crew's just come on in. That's fine.
That was sick, dude. Wow.
So this is the park.
How's it going?
What's up, dude? You good?
Yeah, how are you?
We're just doing a quick tour. We'll be quick.
Okay, cool. Let us know.
No, you're good. We'll be fast. Do your thing.
Are you guys doing an interview?
We're here for. So when we do the event on Friday, right? We'll go have. This is where Roué played.
Yeah.
It's where we filmed their video.
Yeah.
The Karma to Burn. Karma, we do events here all the time. Movie screen drops down.
Yeah.
The whole thing. Stage. It's on. We have one other. This is one of the spots we also play music in.
Cool.
So just to show the vibe.
Yeah, dude.
Again, DW, whatever. But can tell you, this room's awesome because employees can come in here. Pretty much anyone, just be loud, blow some steam.
Sick.
Third drum set in the building.
Yeah.
Right? That's pretty good.
It is pretty
We're
good,
like
man.
doing like checks, you know. So anyway, we love inspiring that. And actually a lot of the people like in marketing and a lot of people are in bands. So it just sort of like attracts.
Just embedded.
Yeah, it
into
just
the
attracts
culture,
and it
100%.
becomes, part of the culture.
Yeah,
so.
dude. I was, when I came and met Kurt for the first time, he showed me this room.
Yeah.
And I was filling in for a punk band called Strike Anywhere out of Richmond.
Yeah.
And
that band's awesome, dude.
My favorite band.
Yeah.
And so the
Love that band.
drummer was working a gig, and he's like, "I need someone to fill in. You're it." And I'm like, "Let's go."
You're like, "Let's do it."
And so I drove down to Wilmington and was rehearsing, and I had just met Kurt, and I was like, "I really want to work with Volcom."
Yeah.
There was Volcom shit everywhere, and I was like, "Why is all the Volcom here?" And they're like, "Oh, this is ASG's practice space."
Yeah.
And it just threw me for a loop. I forgot all the songs that I knew since I was 14, you know?
You're like,
and just
shit, this is
such
amazing.
a crazy parallel of all of it. That room just gave me a little bit of PTSD because I was telling Kurt that same story.
That's awesome. All right, so
rad.
this is not as awesome as it used to be. So this used to be
All right, drum kit number 4.
drum kit number 4. This is my son's kit.
Cool.
He's sort of like a connoisseur of drums and automobiles.
Cool.
So Gretsch, Ludwig, he's been very particular, I would say.
Gotcha.
But this room, well, because we've been growing, as I was telling you, right? We just took on a bunch of bands and whatnot. So he now sits in here with his drums and his car parts.
Does he work for Volcom?
He does, yeah. He works for Liberated Brands.
Liberated.
He's in our trade marketing team. And then Donald, who is the guy in the Rolling Rock headpiece that we looked at earlier. So he is obviously in the band with me. This was the record that we did in 2001. That was basically when we did the MCA deal.
Yeah, yep.
And we had the big paycheck. We built the studio here in the building, which I'll show you, which looks nothing like that. That's where we did the Pepper record too. But we did the drums at Grandmasters.
Yes.
So we went to Grandmasters in that big, gnarly, amazing room that they had. Now it's like a restaurant or something, I think it is.
I think so.
But it was amazing. And they had like this, I remember like the engineering room was like this oval and like everything like tilted back to like 45.
Yeah.
You could just be like
Vibing.
so
that's awesome.
But anyway, we did all the drums there, and then we came and finished a bunch of all the vocals and everything here. So
is he also was he in that band the Dead Mermaids?
he is. He's in Dead Mermaids with Trey.
Yeah.
Which they've been doing. They play very rarely.
Yes.
He's in Deviates. Which is Brian Barbara. And they just had a solid comeback. Doing the new album's amazing. He's in Guttermouth. Yep. Obviously another amazing punk band.
Rad. This is his office?
This is his office. So he also designs all our stores. Environmental design for all of the Liberated Brands portfolio. So
crazy.
If the store's not working, it's his fault. Oh, this is an actual unopened CD.
Wow.
From the first pressing, Stone Entertainment, whatever, 95. Yeah, let's just open this up. Why not? I think there's some good photos in here in the liner notes. Oh, whoops. It's been packaged for like 25 years.
So crazy. 95.
Yeah, well, it's not that much red stuff, but whatever.
That's cool.
CDs are still cool.
Definitely.
They're coming back.
Yep.
Probably some vinyl in there. But yeah, I mean, there's music equipment pretty much lurking everywhere in here. Eons. I don't know where my cab is though. That's curious because I did want to show you that, but I don't know. Maybe they're right here.
Sweet.
So
That is
usually
so cool.
all the gear was set up, but theLINE did a run with Guttermouth in August. And then we did the Board Riders deal, and I've been very busy, so it's been on hold.
The balance.
But yeah, it's still a part of what we do, so good
cool.
vibes. Now let's head back up this way. Just shut that on your way.
Just shut that door.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta shut this or
This is amazing.
Donald will yell at me. He'll be like, you didn't shut the door. So we're in the process of like totally redoing this building. Eventually it'll be Volcom, Billabong, Gruka.
Wow, yeah.
Captain Finn, all the design teams and marketing teams will be in this building. Currently it's Volcom mostly, because obviously.
Yep.
But we have another building down the street, 16th Street, almost this big, that we're also kind of building out and
Very cool.
getting everything sort of dialed in. Okay.
Are a lot of the team from the other brands relocating out here, or are they already in the area?
Most of them are around here, so it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, we were here before, but basically when we did the Line record, Monsters We Breed, and the Pepper record, it's not very awesome. But this didn't, so this whole wall and this whole thing didn't used to be here. This was just one big open room. And at the time, we basically built a control room inside of here.
Wow.
And it was all blocked off. So we would come in here and basically smoke weed during the day.
Yeah.
And at some point during that era, in the early, like 99, 2000, we were doing all these records, the intake for the AC was in here. So like we were just smoking weed. It was going through the friggin' like whole building, right? The finance team, in middle of the day, because we would start at like noon,
Right.
you know? And because we was in the building, we had as much time as we wanted, and we were just like, we weren't in a big hurry. And everything was on Pro Tools, so it didn't matter. We'd already did the drums analog and everything. And this was just the friggin' most awesome spot. And then we'd stay super late, be super loud, sleep in, come in, do it all again.
Yep.
And then eventually the Pepper record, which that was the only other record we made here, because then they were like, yo, you can't, this is not really the place to have a studio for this type of music
Thing.
Yeah, it's loud. You guys are, smoking a ton of weed and knows what else. And,
Accounting's numbers are all off.
and everyone's like going like, what? Like, this is not a cohesive, I can't work in here.
So what's next for Volcom Entertainment? What, obviously you guys did the thing with Rue.
Yeah, so
They
we're about to drop a collaboration with a band called Hockey Dad.
Cool.
They're awesome. They're from Australia.
Yeah.
They have, they have a couple really great singles that have done really well. And then we have so that's dropping in March. We want to do obviously more stuff with Rue.
Yeah.
They're classic and awesome.
Yeah.
I'm in conversations with a couple people about some other things that could be pretty exciting as well. So
Cool.
like, really for Volcom Entertainment, I would love to just continue to inspire like the community and the next generation and do things like we're doing with you guys.
Yeah.
If we can find those really organic ways to like, drum is a passion, people are inspired, it's a creative platform, it's a creative sort of, friggin' medium to express yourself visually and audio, with audio. And so we want to keep doing stuff like that. And
Awesome.
Kurt's been amazing, like I said, he's helped sort of connect those dots. So whether it's like what we just did with, Run the Jewels, where
this
we're
is
just
so
doing
cool.
more, unique and sort of elevated things that are just limited edition.
Yeah.
Or whether we're just doing t-shirts and hats and, cool. We've got probably like a cassette. We're trying to do 7 inches whenever we can.
Yep.
We just finished that Pepper collab. We did another Volcom Entertainment collab with Noah Dean with his band Blister, who's one of our co-surfers. So, we're the great thing about it is it's not like back in the old days where it's like, you got to put out this many records, you have to sign this many bands, and you just, throwing spaghetti at the wall essentially. So it's more methodical and more organic.
Totally.
Like when I met Rue, was literally, we were doing a Pearl Jam Pixies Volcom Entertainment pop-up in London, and this was 2002. And it was completely, like, we were there, it was an awesome event. Pixies played a super intimate performance to like 300 people. And I was there doing my thing, and I just kept noticing this girl, like, who's that girl with blue hair? She doesn't look like the typical Pearl Jam fan.
Yeah.
Who's, maybe a bit older.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like, I gotta go talk to her. So I just literally went up and introduced myself, started talking, and it happened so organically, so candidly. She's like, I really wanna get into the Pixie show. I'm like, sorry, there's only, 300 people. There's 3,000 people plus here. They've been in line since whatever. And we were just giving out the access randomly. So like every 10 or 15 person in line would get access to the concert. And, but I was kind of wanted to just feel them out a little bit.
Yeah.
And anyway, she was super rad, and we just kept chatting, and then we had a couple spots open, so I forget how I got a hold of her. She gave me her card or something, and I'm like, hey, can get you and her friend in who was with her at the time, and she's like, I'm like, what are you doing here? She's like, oh, we're here for the Pearl Jam. We just like cruise around and like see awesome festivals. I'm like, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Like with your family, like your parents take you? She's like, yeah. I'm like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And so we ended up, becoming friends there and came in. And I was just watching this video. I interviewed her, and I'm forgetting her friend's name. But anyway, I interviewed her page right after the show, and I was like, what'd you think? And
Yeah.
I was laughing. It was this weekend, because it was like, I feel like we've gotten so much closer since then, and we've done so much stuff. And I don't know, there's just something about her and Jax and the band, and that, I don't know, I can't, like, it just feels so right to like want to work with them.
Yeah, I love that.
And it's, I think we've done some cool stuff already, and I could see us doing a lot of other cool stuff as like their profile grows and their aspirations grow, and they're like a prime example of, I think, any like aspiring artist, like they're in it because they love it.
Yeah.
Yes, they're talented. Yes, they have connections here and there, but they kind of earned it from
100%.
just, doing what they love to do.
Yeah,
So
I love that.
I'd say that next generation, like that's like me. I mean, I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for that. So
Totally.
I think on that note, just stay true to yourself and true to your passion, and you're good.
Heck yeah, man.
If it doesn't
Thank
work
you.
out, fucking go on to the next thing. Try
Exactly.
another
Go to-
thing.
exactly. Try
Don't
the
like
next
that
thing.
beat? Try the fucking this one. So.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, thank you so
Yeah.
much for the tour and
Yeah,
the
my
history.
pleasure.
This is so rad.
Yeah, that was fun.
Really appreciate it.
This was way more production than I thought. I thought it was gonna be me and you and like an iPhone, but good to
Nah,
see you
dude.
guys.
No, they're rad. Dude,
Yeah, you
and
guys
that's,
are great.
That's the mission we're on, man. Like I moved from Massachusetts where SJC is. I've done that for 24 years. And I was a little burnt out running the company, just HR, wearing all the hats, and my passion is and there's that side, that. The
for sure.
spreadsheets, the running of the business
You gotta do it.
is needed. But I've just felt this calling of driving the next generation and try to motivate them. And these pop-ups that we do, like getting the School of Rock kids in here to like show them, like, hey,
awesome.
We've got drummers and musicians that they're your heroes. They've made it, quote unquote. But like, come meet them and see that they're also like a normal person.
That's so
It's
cool.
so powerful. We've had so many kids over the years of these little pop-ups we've done that are going to music schools now and like DMing me like, dude, when I met you 6 years ago, like you brought this artist, you said this, that's what kept me going. Like that is so special. So, from what you guys have done all these years, like inspiring me over on the East Coast and on the Warped Tour and seeing all the Volcom Entertainment stuff, like
awesome.
This was really cool for me to see. So
my pleasure,
I appreciate it, man.
Thanks so much,
you.
Mike. Appreciate it.